Hi everyone out in the void, I'm Zach, this is the Shaken Fist, and do you know what? If you watched the stream on Tuesday, you would have seen that I was talking about being quite ill, and then I streamed for far too long thinking I was not ill again, and it made me ill for a little bit. So, this was supposed to be out yesterday.
Make sure you look out for the release of the new Albumin. It's out now.
So, I just thought, I was going to post this as a little extra, because, I go on Joe's channel occasionally. I just, I bully people in the chat, and then I don't really. I go in and I say things, and then I go, do you know what? Why am I just talking in the chat? Maybe I should come in and badger the people that I'm actually talking to. So I did, and, we had a little conversation about Ken Hovind. And how maybe you should or shouldn't talk to him. And, I come up on the very fucking, we shouldn't talk about him, we should just make fun of him and his surrogates. So that's why even the next video I do will be Matt Powell again. Isn't that fun? Aren't we all looking forward to making fun of Matt Powell again? Yay! I mean, it's fun making fun of Matt Powell, but we have to watch Matt Powell, you see, and that isn't so much fun. But that's a different topic for next week, so let's not talk about that any further. And, the music video is still coming, just from being ill, and I've got Michael Beverly. He's gonna be Moses in my new music video, but he's busy at the minute. So because I was ill, I was supposed to get him to do it ages ago, but so I'll get him to do it afterwards. So it's only on hold for a little bit, just 2 weeks, But it is coming. I've played it a few times on my streams if you want to hear it, especially like the last one. Maybe you'll have to find out exactly when it is by watching the whole thing. You'll see. Anyway, so it's just, hear me having... This is why I don't argue with Christians. Just a little taste, because I don't care what they say. Because all they give a shit is about is arguments, and I don't give a shit about arguments. I give a shit about proof. So, it starts off with me, arguing a little bit, and then it goes on to me ranting for a little bit, and then I'll finish it with a little extra rant, and that's fun, isn't it? So enjoy, and then I'll see you next week or this Sunday, because I'm streaming every week now. That's fun for you, and it's also fun for me. I keep on saying these things like it's not, and it is. It totally is. Do you know what? I didn't like streaming at first, but now I do, and I'm quite enjoying it. I mean, it definitely helps having a few of you lovely people watching, and not because before there wasn't that many people watching, and now there is. So it's much easier to do because now I'm not just speaking to a camera. So come in and join in the fun every Sunday. Every Sunday. If your family's out at church, your friends are out at church doing Christian things, whatever, well, you could come and we can laugh at them together. And that's the whole point. So I'll either see you Sunday or I'll see you next Wednesday. And actually before the end of the video. So I should probably not act like this is the end of the video, because I'm a consummate professional. So enjoy. Just before we fucking get going, I forgot. Like and subscribe. And I'm going to put some of the links down below for Captain Desk and fucking, Joe from the Kentucky Atheist, because they're both good dudes. Fuck it, I'll put Atheist Junior there as well, I don't know much about him, but fuck it. If Joe thinks he's alright, then whatever, right? I don't know Angelo's channel, and the other two guys, I don't know if that's like the channel names or not. And, if they get annoyed about it, then just fucking, let me know, and then I'll link your channel and stuff, because I don't know you personally. I don't know what your channels are. I don't even know if you have one, if you just joined in because you wanted to laugh or not. But if that's the case, I'll definitely do it. Just let me know. There's a link there to the whole thing. There's more that goes on. There's much more, and, that's cool. So do that. On we go. The only reason I'd talk to him is to ask him about apricot seeds. It's the only thing I'd talk to him about.
Well, see, okay,
I'm not an atheist, but if I would be an atheist, I wouldn't focus on Kent Hovind whatsoever. I would focus on substantiating my worldview.
See, the thing is, with me,
that's kind of a weird thing.
I kind of agree with him though, because being the more scientific-minded person, right? What I should do to find out truth, being a science-minded person, is I should try and disprove things. Right. So I've got to try and disprove religion. So I've got to attack religious people and their ideas, because if I can't attack it successfully, well, then it's more true, isn't it? Because that's just...
No, I think you... No, I completely disagree with what you just said.
Hey,
I'll explain you why. If you are a scientific-minded person, then you should actually try to disprove your worldview and see if it withstands scrutiny.
The problem with what you've just said is that Science is already doing that. It is trying to show the worldview in which science sees. So I don't need to do that. Scientists do that. They're trained. They're physicists. They're chemists. They're biologists. They know what to do. They know the proper tests, and they have the equipment. I don't. So I'm going to rely on their studies. I'm going to debunk arguments instead of proof. You see?
But Zach, they are making the same mistake, because if you take, for example, an origin of life science paper, what you will see at the end of the paper in the discussion section, it is not that they will try to disprove that abiogenesis didn't happen. They will try to corroborate it.
No,
and that's exactly the
what
opposite of what they
happened.
actually should supposed to do, because
they
they will always write, we hope, we suppose, it is probable.
Hold on.
That's just what they do. It's part of the scientific method, and it's part of, like, so. They also talk about factors that could have changed things, that changed bits of their results and all sorts, right? They don't just pontificate about things. They might make some projections, right? But the fact is they made one claim and they tried to disprove that one claim. They don't make vague assertions to everything else in the scientific paper. That's what scientific books are for.
Yeah. I think that.
And also, when it comes to abiogenesis, science isn't going, let's disprove abiogenesis. What they do is try and disprove different ways that abiogenesis could have occurred, not just the whole concept.
You try to rule out. So the whole idea is to rule out other possibilities to the,
And if you can't disprove it, then it can stand. Then it can stand. Yeah. So Tangelo, to a point, yes, they are trying to disprove themselves. But if you can't disprove it, then it stands as well. It must be true because you can't disprove it. So that's falsifiability.
The thing is that abiogenesis hasn't ever been corroborated to be true.
And they haven't cured cancer yet either. They haven't cured cancer yet either. Tomorrow they could.
I didn't realize. Did we have a deadline for answers?
Right. That's what scientists do. What do you think they do every day, Otangelo?
So what happens? So I'm sorry. What happens back in the 10s or 1890s with physics when they didn't know about quantum, and then we find out about quantum? It's almost like we find out new information and change our points based on that, instead of going, do you know what? I heard Aquinas said something in the 1200s. That's still totally 100% true, even though they knew nothing about atoms, waves, fields, or anything that we have now.
Well said.
Because
the thing is that
than scientific tests that have literally brought us the technology which we're talking through now. It's almost like we have results on one side and the other has nothing except vague assertions, wild arguments, dreams, and I saw it once.
The thing is, we are talking about origin.
Right. Yeah, when they're on the internet. Origin. Yeah.
So these are different questions. One is, how do things work? And when we figure out certain things, we can move on with advancing and apply scientific findings in practical uses. But the other question is about origins, which isn't about finding things and stuff that we can use for practical terms. So these are different questions.
No, that's false. Evolution's used to make cures and stuff. So if abiogenesis has a theory that may be used for cures and everything too, so you can't say it'll be worthless.
Know how it started.
That's not the goal to find out.
Hold on,
I didn't say it was the goal. I didn't say it was the goal.
Hold on.
The cuts here is just because Atheist Junior had left, and I don't know much about him. I've never watched any of his stuff. So hopefully he's cool. I mean, Joe was talking to him in a pretty pleasant way, so I'm taking it off Joe's cordialness with him that he's all right. So whatever. And I just wanted to cut that out because it goes on. It doesn't go on for ages. It just stops the flow, much like I'm doing now. So let's carry on.
Let's try and organize this a little bit so that we're not all talking over each other. Okay.
I'm bad at that, by the way.
I'm gonna say, I'll say one thing, and then that'll get it going again here, and then we can kind of go from there. So Otangelo, I think though that the issue with what you're saying is that science we do use science to rule out things, and then we test those things that are left, and we We let others corroborate that through testing and through going through the same steps that we did, so they can see if they come out to the same thing. The peer review process, you understand that. So I think that the issue is that like, it's fine though if you want to challenge things like abiogenesis and stuff. I'll give you that. My big question is, why are we looking for, like, why should we believe in the Christian God then, even if those things aren't true? I don't think that defeating abiogenesis or evolution or any of that does any good for your argument. And that's really the thing that I try to dig at and get down to the bottom of, is why should I believe this thing is true?
Because it's just the God of the gaps argument. Sorry.
Well, yeah.
But we don't have the answer for it, so they have to reach for something. And because they have no proof and just arguments, they have to reach for answers that we don't have yet. And that's literally all they've done for thousands of years. Well, you don't have the answer to this yet. Well, we actually proved that the universe is 14.7 billion light years wide. We've proved atoms, we've proved cells, bacteria, all sorts of things that religious people stood against at the time. So how many times does science have to prove religion wrong before religious people get off the goddamn fucking high horse and go, do you know what, maybe we're not right about everything. Maybe this book from 2,000 years ago that's taken from a book that's from earlier than that has some of its myths taken from Mesopotamia, do you know what, maybe it isn't correct. Maybe it isn't 100% correct. But no, we're just, I don't want to die. I've sunk too much time into it. 20 billion different reasons why every time they're wrong, they're 100% right. And that is one of the reasons that people like Christians, because Christians just bulldoze through people and go, we have all the answers and it doesn't matter if they're wrong because you're too stupid to know it, right? So trust me, because I know better. I know my book says, trust not in your own understanding, which means mine as well, and trust in the Lord's. But nah, they all have their own answers because they've got so many denominations, and this priest says this, and this book says this, and this translation says this, and they're all so fucking certain of everything when they don't have an answer to literally anything. They have no proof of Jesus, no proof for almost anyone in the Bible, and they're like, it's all 100% true. Don't worry about it until we prove it wrong, and then, hey, it was just myth all along, yo.
Yeah.
Well,
what do you think,
Angela? Wow.
Go ahead.
Well, I think that the dichotomy science against religion is false. We have science which unravels how things work, and we try to find an explanation of the natural phenomena, like when DNA was discovered. Nobody expected that it would be.
What has it got to do with God? What is it going to do with God? God, you don't have any proof that God made it, do you? So until you have proof that God did something, why don't you say that?
Telling me that things are false doesn't...
Give me some proof instead of an argument. Give me some proof.
And that's really the thing that we're talking about here at the heart of this, is because telling me what's false, that science has peer-reviewed and looked at, doesn't help anything. Because the issue with that is that what science does, abiogenesis, for example, science isn't saying, hey, it's abiogenesis. They're saying, here is a method that would possibly work and that has a natural explanation to how this occurred. And we're not saying that this is the answer, but this would work, and all the tools and everything that's needed to make this work are there. So this seems to be like a reasonable, natural answer to this question. So what I'm asking is if we're gonna shoot down those things and say, well, those things aren't true, then what is the reasonable piece of whatever you can give me to believe the other way? Because that's what's missing. Christianity doesn't have that. They don't have anything that says
I don't start with Christianity for a good reason, because I use the cumulative argument for God's existence, which starts with the basic question, does God exist or does he not exist? And if you have a true dichotomy, either intelligence had to be involved to create the order or not. And you cannot test God, because we are talking supposedly about events which happened only once in the past. So you cannot expect to prove that God creates things.
If it can't be tested, it's irrelevant.
Yeah, if God functions and makes everything and runs through everything and controls everything, and his fiber of being is in every fiber of being in existence,
bring my point without being interrupted. So I'll just leave and I'll come in another opportunity. Okay? Have a good one. Have a good afternoon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So you can see though, like Joe is much better at talking to people. So if you like watching people talk to people, you should go watch Joe's channel. I have no time for these fucks, none. And I'll explain a little bit here. But you see how you tell them I don't give a shit about your arguments, and they go, well, I have an argument, because that's all they have. Because really, they're worthless thinkers, right? They don't think for themselves. They can't think about anything, right? And they want to go, oh, you don't think for yourself because you follow scientific thought. And it's like, yeah, I know. I follow the scientific thought, and then I draw my conclusions from it, you see? You don't have to listen to Aquinas or Polycarp or whatever loser you got from fucking a couple thousand years ago, a couple hundred years ago. Oh, it's Pascal. Please just believe one of my arguments. I've learned them by rote. Can you not just let me get on my arguments? No, I cannot. So I'll get on to my rant now. I'll stop interrupting. This is why I don't argue with Christians.
Well,
what I wanted to say was, if he, like Otangelo just said, there's no method to test his claims. So that's why when they say, well, you're only using science, well, science has the scientific method to test claims. If you want to have some sort of what he says is not testable, then you have to have another type of method to run these claims through, and they don't have one.
No, because they don't want one. That's the thing, right? Because they're afraid it's not going to find anything. That's what it is. It's like flat earthers going, I don't want to go to space.
That's when I went on Hamza's Den again. Should we give this guy any airtime? No, he's a clown. But when I went on there, it was again just to get my clip, like I did with Jim Bob, and I got him to admit that his beliefs could not be proven wrong. When I admitted that almost every, I won't say everything, but most things I know could be proven wrong. He said, no, I can't be proven wrong. That's all I wanted him to say. So the rest of the time he called me a dummy and where did the universe come from and all that kind of stuff. I really don't care, because all I cared was that I can admit I'm wrong. He never will. And that's like the famous Ken Ham thing.
We have to stop letting them shift the burden. We have to stop that.
That's why I don't like this argument thing. They never got proof. It's always arguments. Well, I've got a collective argument for God. It's like, I don't give a shit about your argument. Your argument doesn't mean jack. Arguments don't mean anything.
Your sophistry isn't reality.
Yeah, arguments leading you to simple, intuitive answers to hard, non-intuitive questions. And because they have all the answers, you're supposed to go, what a brave, special person that's figured out everything. Wow, they're so knowledgeable. Over there, they say that they're really smart, but they don't know anything. Isn't that dumb? That sounds like an oxymoron. I'm like, these people, when they were in proper control, right? They tortured us, they put us in prisons, they put us on pikes, whatever things, they stoned us to death, whatever they fucking wanted to do, because they're a bunch of bastards, right? So I don't see why we have to be nice to them. Fuck them. If they don't want to give me proof, why should we talk to them? We got to provide proof for oxygen. We got to provide proof for gravity. We got to provide proof for the age of the universe, the size of the universe, the shape of the earth, how clouds are made. We got to provide proof for everything that happens in all of the universe. Otherwise, they go, by the way, did you know it was God? We have to prove everything. These bastards get so annoyed, right, that we ask for proof. How dare you ask for proof? And it's like, I'm sorry, don't we literally want proof for everything in existence? You make fun of us for that, but hey, when it's your God, we can't prove that. I know he's in everything and he runs everything, and his fabric of being runs through every fabric of existence, and he is what that is. I am that what is that what I am, or whatever he says, right? He's supposed to be everything. He's all powerful, all knowing, all these things. Just can't detect him. We've got hundreds of trillions of neutrinos flying through everything, every second of every day, and we can detect 5 a year. But some reason, the thing that's in everything, God, nothing. Not a thing.
I'm going to clip that.
Yes?
Yeah, that was amazing. I was going to say, the Bible does say don't put your Lord to the test, but that's probably because the people who wrote it knew that, they were just making stuff up as they went along. That's simple.
Well, it was because back in the day, right, putting God to the test meant that somebody was going to come in and ruin Judah, right? It wasn't you were going to go to hell, because the Jews didn't believe in hell. They didn't believe in heaven, right? Christians made all that up. But they don't care about any of that because, well, it's my point of view and I'm special. Do you see how I exist? So I have thoughts, and they're the best thoughts. You can tell because I'm Christian. They don't care about anything except what makes them feel better. That's why they get angry at people going having doubts, because they don't want to hear it themselves because they're having doubts. right? So people like us that go, this is really fucking stupid, they get all touchy and they get the fifis hurt. And then after that, they'll go online and they'll talk about how they never offended anything and all the young people are all just a bunch of offended little pussies or whatever. You know what I mean? It's fucking pathetic. These people are just bullies that have grown up being bullies because a religion tells them they're better than everyone else. Something I forgot to say is you're supposed to put God to the test. That's what Ezekiel does, doesn't he? Or Elijah. I always forget. And I don't care. So they go up there and they go, we'll cut the bull in half. You know, and if Baal's real, he'll set it on fire. And if Yahweh's real, he'll set it on fire, you see? Because you could put the Lord to the test, because it was okay then, because it was easier to fool people, you see? And now we require actual scientific evidence to show structures, permutations, you know, things that will predict things in the future, peer-reviewed research that isn't done by people of a biased nature, that are looking to just prove themselves by not using the proper scientific method and actually falsifying the scientific method instead to prove their things instead of trying to disprove it, because they already have the answer, you see? And that's why it's so easy for them. Just to the second they start, you go, well, we don't have the answer to abiogenesis. It's God. It's God. Well, we don't have to prove it, but you have to prove everything else. So let's stop fucking going to their level, right? Why the fuck do we have to let these fucking cunts control what we say and how we talk and how we're supposed to fucking do shit, right? What, just because they've been in charge for a couple thousand years, that means that we still have to give a shit about their feelings and all this different stuff now? Oh, I can't believe that he talked over me and I can't have that. I have to get out my 15-step argument because otherwise I'm not proselytizing now and I have to spit my dummy out and go home because the big angry atheist talked over me and said I was dumb for not giving proof and saying the arguments were stupid, and I gave another argument. Where? These people are a bunch of fucking bitches, right? Straight up bitches. They don't give a shit about anything. All they care about is looking like they got the 2 fucking cents in. They don't care if you get him going, I'll never change my mind. They don't care if you prove evolution to the nth degree. They don't care if you prove tectonic plates. They don't care if you prove the age of the universe, the size of the universe. These motherfuckers won't care if we find an advanced alien civilization out in the fucking cosmos. They'll just go, fake news. It's not real. God put him there to test our faith. Blah, 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 blah. This is actually hell. This is actually purgatory. What we found is this. They won't give a flying fuck. Because these people do not care about what truth is because they think they've already found it. And they think the rest of us are a bunch of lying scumbags that are lying about being Christian, not being Christian, just so we can turn people away from the faith because we're under the fucking auspices of the devil. Why the fuck should we give them any fucking time of day? And then, like, what? So, on a couple of videos ago, I was talking about Mike Winger, and, like, I skimmed through the video, so I'm still waiting for a timestamp from the commenter, so, like, you know, and I saying, oh, well, you're getting salty about your past. Oh! I didn't realize that as an atheist, I wasn't allowed to talk about, you know, what happened to my past, you see? Because, again, we have to keep on holding ourselves to a higher and higher and higher level, right? Because we can't look salty. We can't look angry at things that happen in our past. We can't be angry about people that have lied to us. We can't be angry, about anything, can we? We can't. As atheists, we have to be calm, rational, and level fucking headed. And we get dictated to by fucking everyone like we're supposed to act a certain way to convince these people. What these people don't want convincing. So why the fuck should we appease them? I ain't here to change minds, right? I know I'm here preaching to the choir, and I don't give a flying fuck. Because to me, this is catharsis, right? This is just me getting really fucking angry at stupid Christian dickheads, right? And if my past comes into it, I don't give a flying fuck. And if people think I'm salty, you're damn right I'm fucking salty. You know why I'm salty? I was brought up thinking that if I did all the right things, I was going to go to heaven forever. And then that turned out to be a lie, and the whole thing turned out to be a manipulation tool to spring capitalism along and fuck us over, so we're happy that we're fucked all the time. Because, you go to heaven eventually, right? So then when you die and nothing happens, well, these fucking rich fucks win. And you get to suffer all your entire life, the one time you get to live. Just because, well, you believed in God. So sorry if I'm a bit salty about it. I don't give a flying fuck. Me being salty about something and being angry, well, doesn't matter because there's something that matters more, and that's the facts. So if I present a bunch of facts, I don't give a shit about your arguments. I don't give a shit if I fucking butthurt you or fucking offended you or whatever, right? What matters is whether these facts are right or wrong. And humans don't give a shit about facts, do they? That's why they think autistic people are weird, because they care about facts over emotions. Because what is true matters more than whether the true fact is going to hurt your fucking fifis, right? So maybe we stop playing by all these rules that are put upon us. Isn't that kind of one of the glorious things about being an atheist, is we don't have to listen to dogmatic thinking, right? And we get to look at the evidence put upon us and we get to judge them based thusly. You know what I mean? So, like, why the fuck should we care? That's my entire point. Why the fuck should we care about these people? They don't care about us. They condescendingly tell us that they care about us and they'll pray for us because they're a condescending piece of shit. They think that they have one-on-one fucking communication with God, and God will just deem that they'll make our lives better, or they'll make us believe, or whatever, just because, well, lonely old Jim fucking knobhead over it, well, he's prayed for me. Well, who fucking Ray? Who gives a flying fuck? Tell them to shove it up the condescending ass and come back when they got some fucking proof and not a book that's like 2,000 years old, filled with inaccuracies, things that are like fucking things that just completely go against each other, because it's not one cohesive story, but nobody cares about any of the actual facts. All they care about is that it makes them feel warm inside. So let's believe in it some more. Hooray! Persecute the gays and fuck the women. They're all fucking worthless. God is king. God is king. Good night, everybody.